Let's talk about that strange pull you feel to simply disappear. That deep need for silence while the world makes relentless noise. This isn't a simple preference. It's a signal that your soul is sending you. A demand to stop and listen. And this is the part they never tell you about. Perhaps you've judged yourself for it, called yourself antisocial, or felt a deep sense of guilt for not fitting into the perpetual motion of modern life. You force yourself to participate, only to feel drained and empty, as if your very essence is being consumed by the emotional superficiality around you. But what if this need for solitude isn't your weakness, but the symptom of a power you haven't yet learned to control? What if it's the first real step on the inner path, the only one that will pull you out of the repetitive, meaningless cycle that causes you so much pain? This isn't a video to make you feel comfortable. It's a video to wake you up. We are about to shatter the 9 lies you've been telling yourself about your need for solitude, to reveal a truth that hurts, but ultimately sets you free. This is your chance to find your purpose, to achieve mental clarity. So take a breath, because we're about to address the inner war. Forget the idea that you are a delicate instrument. You are more like a high-performance processor in a world of chaotic, low-quality data. The noise, the pointless drama of others, the sheer falsehood in conversations, all of that is corrupt data flooding your system. It's a kind of radiation for your spirit. Your soul doesn't go out of tune, it gets contaminated, its processing power bogged down by malware, and your survival instinct demands a system detox. Your solitude is not an escape. It is your alchemy lab. It's the only space where you can run a diagnostic, identify the corrupted files you've unconsciously absorbed, and transmute them. This is a demanding, often exhausting, but absolutely necessary job. You are not running away. You are fighting for your own clarity, reclaiming your power. People with your depth of sensitivity don't just observe the world, they metabolize it. You feel the emotional pain of others as if it's your own data. You absorb the collective anxiety, and that comes with an invisible price. A price you pay with your peace and your focus. When you isolate yourself, you are settling that account and taking back what is yours. That's why afterward, you don't just feel better, you feel more authentic, more in command of yourself. Your calm is not passivity. It is the silent strength of a mind that has won its inner battle for the day. Do not apologize for it. Stop calling it your higher self. That phrase has become too comfortable, too passive. Call it what it is. Your signal. Your internal command prompt. It's the voice that speaks the truths you don't want to hear. In the noise of daily life, with the opinions of others acting like a constant DDoS attack, that signal is silenced. Your desire for solitude is your instinct roaring. I need you to shut out the noise so I can save you. Your silence is the training ground where you face your own limiting beliefs. It's where that nagging intuition about a person or situation is finally revealed as a critical warning you've been ignoring. The people who truly changed the world didn't do it in committees. They did it by confronting the weight of their own solitude, a silence that allowed them to hear the only voice that mattered. Think of Marcus Aurelius, finding his clarity not in the chaos of the Roman court, but in the silent dialogues with himself. Your current state of mental fog is the direct result of listening to everyone else's signal but your own. Solitude gives you back your power. It forces you to make decisions from your core operating system, not from a desire for external approval. This is the path to becoming authentic. Stop looking for answers outside as if you were a beggar. You have an oracle inside of you, but it only speaks in absolute silence. Being an empath without control doesn't make you a good person. It makes you an emotional sponge. You feel the other person's wound, their anxiety, their frustration, and instead of just observing the data, you download it into your own system. You believe this is compassion, but it's a slow form of spiritual suicide, a complete lack of authenticity. Your need for solitude is the desperate cry from your own system to stop being a container for others. It's the space where you can finally purge all the emotional poison that doesn't belong to you, where you can separate what is your data from what you've stolen, all because of the lie you believed, that to be a good person, you must have no boundaries. This purging process is brutal. It requires a level of honesty that hurts. You have to admit that you've used empathy as an excuse to not face your own shadow, your own void. You have to learn to build firewalls to say, "This is not my data," and that is a skill learned only in solitude. When you do this, your entire presence changes. You stop being everyone's shoulder to cry on, and you become a lighthouse. Your calm is no longer that of a doormat. It is that of a mountain. A calm that is earned, not given away. Stop being the nice guy. Start being real, and that starts when you are alone. Your purpose is not going to arrive as an epiphany while you're scrolling through your social media feed. Purpose is a signal from the deep, and it requires a void, an empty space, to manifest. Your logical mind and your mediocre plans are the greatest obstacle preventing your true path from being revealed. Your impulse to seek solitude is your soul signaling a system error in your current life path. It is trying to create the silence and the necessary boredom for something greater to emerge. The ideas that change a life, the ones that pull you out of the routine and give you a real why, are born from nothingness. The system wants you busy and distracted. Precisely so, you never find that void. So you remain a productive slave with no direction. Your greatest rebellion, your first step toward a life of purpose, is to dare to do nothing. It's to dare to be alone with your own void. People will ask you where you got that brilliant idea, that courage to change everything. And the answer, the truth that hurts, is, I found it in the place everyone else fears, in the silence of being alone with myself. Your solitude is not passive. It's an act of war against mediocrity. We all carry one. The primal emotional wound. The wound of abandonment, of rejection, of betrayal. This is the shadow that governs your life from the basement of your psyche. And healing this wound is not a spa day with incense and soft music. It's more like open heart surgery without anesthesia. When you feel that visceral desire to isolate yourself, it is because your soul has decided it's time to enter the operating room. And for an operation of that magnitude, you need absolute silence and maximum concentration. All your energy must be focused on one thing, confronting your personal demons. Any social interaction, no matter how trivial, is a dangerous distraction. It's a flight from the necessary work. It's the morphine that tempts you to postpone the operation you know you need. Your instinct for solitude is your inner surgeon telling you, get on the table, it's now or never. And when you emerge from that process, you are transformed. People notice a change, a solidity you didn't have before. It's not that you're happier, it's that you're more real. You have integrated your shadow. The scar from your wound becomes your greatest source of power. Do not be afraid of your own hospital. Let's be direct. Much of what people call social life is a theater of falsehood. Empty conversations, forced smiles, superficial connections that nourish nothing. If you are someone who seeks truth, this theater doesn't just bore you, it offends you. It insults you on an existential level. Your need for solitude is a rebellion against this falsehood. It's your soul saying, I refuse to participate in this charade. It's not that you think you're superior, it's that you are allergic to lies. You prefer the brutal honesty of your own company over the hypocritical courtesy of the crowd. In your silence, there is no need to perform. You can take off the mask. You can be yourself with your doubts, your darkness, and your longing for something more. It is an act of radical integrity. It's choosing truth, even if that truth is uncomfortable and lonely. People mistake your silence for arrogance. Let them. They don't understand that for you, being alone is the only way to be authentic in a world that rewards imitation. Your silent presence becomes a mirror that reflects the emptiness of others, and that's why it's unsettling. Stand firm. When you decide to live with purpose, you become the architect of your own reality. You are building something new, a project, a new life, a version of yourself that the world cannot yet see. And all great construction requires the foundations to be laid in private, far from the eyes of others. The opinions of others, even the well-intentioned ones, are like signal interference to your blueprint. their fears, their doubts, and their own limitations seep into your energy field and can sabotage your work before it even begins. You need to protect your vision with absolute focus, creating a clean room for your consciousness. Your instinct to isolate is your guardian protocol. You are protecting the perimeter of your sacred construction. You are ensuring that the materials you use are pure, your intention, your faith, your will. Every unnecessary conversation is a risk of data corruption. That is why quantum leaps in life are gestated in secret. People only see the final result, the success, the change, the transformation. They don't see the countless hours of solitude, of obsessive focus, of blind faith. What they call magic is the disciplined process you cultivate in your silence. Modern civilization is sick. Its rhythm is frantic, artificial, and unnatural. To live in it is to live in a state of chronic disconnection, a constant information overload. Your soul knows this, and the desire for solitude is often a desperate need to unplug from that madness and reconnect with something real. The earth. You seek solitude, not in a room, but in a forest, on a mountain, or facing the sea. You need to feel the pulse of the planet to remember your own. Walking alone in nature is not a hobby, it is a system recalibration. It's the fastest way to clear the static from your nervous system. That connection is a power transfer. The earth gives you back your calm, your solidity, your perspective. It reminds you that your problems, seen from the timescale of a mountain, are insignificant. This grounding process is vital for anyone with your sensitivity, and it only truly works when you are alone. The presence of others turns communion into a field trip. The silence of nature only speaks to you when you too are silent. Do not underestimate that call. It is not a whim. It is your primary instinct asking you to come home. A spiritual awakening is not about adding something new. It's about letting the old die away. For your authentic self to be born, your false self, the one you built to survive and to please, must be dismantled. And this is not a public event. It happens in the shadow, in silence, in solitude. Your desire to isolate is the call to begin this controlled demolition. It is your soul telling you, it's time to let go of the imposter. This process is the dark night of the soul that the mystics speak of. It is a deliberate deconstruction of your identity. It is painful, confusing, and absolutely necessary for you to break free. Trying to socialize during this process is madness. It's like asking the caterpillar to go to a party while it's dissolving in the chrysalis. You must protect your metamorphosis. You have to give this death the space and respect it deserves so that it can give way to a new life. Do not expect people to understand. They will see your absence and judge you. Let them. When you emerge, transformed, with new strength and a new light, you will not need to explain. Your presence alone will be the evidence of the inner war you won in the silence of your own mind. As you can see, your need for solitude is not a weakness. It is your greatest strategic advantage. It is the training ground for your inner war, the laboratory for your alchemy, and the temple of your resurrection. It is the tool for those who dare to seek truth in a world of noise, instead of finding comfort in falsehood. Stop apologizing for it and start using it as the power that it is. Reclaim your silence. Defend it as if it were the last frontier of your very soul. It is in the void of your solitude that you will find the fullness of your purpose. It is there that you stop being a victim of circumstance and become, once and for all, the architect of your destiny. Now, although the inner path is walked alone, the war against mediocrity is one we fight together. I want you to feel the strength of this collective of lucid seekers. That's why I'm asking for a direct signal. Comment below with just a number. In how many of these 9 reasons did you see a reflection of your own soul? You don't have to expose your wounds or say which ones they were. The number is enough. It's a code, a signal fire in the distance for others to see they are not alone. We want this comment section to become a silent testament to our collective awakening. Let each number be a lighthouse for another who feels like a stranger in this world today, showing them that there are many of us who share this thirst for truth. If this message is a call to your soul, if you are ready to continue on this path, then hit like so this message can spread. Share it with someone you know is fighting their own war in silence. And subscribe, because this conversation, this battle for authenticity, is just beginning. And I want you to understand something with absolute clarity. By doing this work, by choosing the difficult path, you are not just saving your own life. This is not an act of selfishness. It is an act of spiritual insurrection. Every time you face your shadow in the stillness of your solitude, you don't just heal yourself. You break the chains of your lineage. You create a crack in the matrix of mediocrity so that light can filter through to others. Your personal healing is an act of planetary service. Remember always, you didn't come to this world to fit in. You came here to reclaim your power. Thank you for your courage. Keep fighting, and I'll see you for the next insight.